teams that have qualified from that side of things. Now it's time to get into Group B.
Tak więc grupę A obejrzeliśmy, czas na grupę B. W niej mamy m.in. pewnego kudłatego Polaka, który wcześniej grał w drużynie Fnatic.
There's even a nice banner up there. Good stuff.
Looks nice, looks nice.
Although they had the letters in the wrong order for a while there. Now they fixed it. Good stuff. So, let's talk a little bit about the four teams that we've got. We're going to bring two of them on stage. The two teams that aren't on stage are elohell.net, sat down there at the front of the
Tam
stage.
mamy Elohell.
The other side says elohell. Good stuff. These guys are prepared. I'm liking it. And of course we have Moscow 5 here.
Tutaj mamy Mistrzów Świata z Moscow 5.
And let's bring up the first team of the first game. We heard a little bit about the story earlier on. Ocelot helping them to get here and, you know, giving them the namesake of their team, obviously Existence, otherwise known as OcelotWorld.net.
Wielkie brawa dla Hiszpanów! I think they are clearly the underdogs here. Maybe next to elohell?
Well, I think a lot of people will be thinking that. Obviously, Moscow 5 and the other team that are in this group that we're going to bring out here in a minute are definite favourites, but these guys and elohell could bring a bit of an upset, in my opinion.
It's certainly possible. Tak więc ci panowie z Hiszpanii, sponsorowani na tą wycieczkę przez Ocelota z SK Gaming, podejrzewam obok elohell właśnie czarne konie tego turnieju. So let's bring out possibly the favorites of the group. Well, obviously next to M5.
Possibly. They're making faces about, possibly? What are you talking about? Let's hear it. They've come all the way from Korea for this event. Let's hear it for CLG.eu.
All right.
So,
guys from Spain, you don't want to talk, so take your seats, please.
They don't speak English.
That's okay.
that's
Take
fine.
your seats, please.
Sit down.
We're gonna take one from CLG.eu as well. He's a popular figure in the League of Legends community. Obviously, we've got Carmack to translate into Polish, and I'll be translating Snoopy's words into English as well for everyone out there who can't understand him. So, Snoopy, come on.
Krótko mówiąc, wywiad ze Snoopym.
I told you. So, Snoopy, you guys played your games in Korea, the OGN Champions, earlier. The other teams allowed you to do that. You went 3-0. Good start to your life in Korea.
That was a good start to my life.
We've got to translate, sorry.
Tak więc drużyna CLG przyjechała właśnie z Korei, z turnieju OGN. Wygrywają w tej chwili 3-0. Czy dobry początek?
Yeah, it was a good start in Korea. I'm glad to win 3-0. The Korean teams are a bit crazy, but I had a good time in Korea, and I'm glad to be here in Poland now and checking out all you guys, awesome Polish guys.
I'm not really going to translate into English.
Tak
We'll
więc
put subtitles on later.
dobry początek. Koreańczycy są dość dzicy jako przeciwnicy w LoLu. I bardzo cieszę się, że jest tutaj w Polsce z wami wszystkimi.
So what about this group? Obviously, there are two big favourites yourselves, Moscow 5. You've got the Ocelot World team, and you've got elohell. Surely these two teams, as underdogs, you've got to be really wary of them. I mean, you know Moscow 5 probably better than you do these other two.
Tak więc someone in the audience was misbehaving. Let me put it this way. Tak więc pytanie było o właśnie Moscow 5. Znają bardzo dobrze, natomiast elohell czy Ocelot World, CLG Europe nie znają, więc czy ich należy się bardziej obawiać?
I'll be honest, we've not actually had that much chance to see how the European teams are doing over the last month. Like Existence, I don't really know much about them. ELO Hell, don't know much about them either. I look forward to playing Moscow 5 again, that old rivalry from DreamHack. I'm sure they want to show themselves and see what they can do after DreamHack. We're just going to take each game as it comes and hopefully we progress through the group stages.
Tak więc zgadza się, nie mieli okazji odrobić dużo pracy domowej o przeciwnikach Elo Hell oraz Ocelot World. CLG znają bardzo dobrze, mają już rywalizację, na pewno, Moscow 5 znają bardzo dobrze, mają dużą rywalizację i na pewno Rosjanie będą chcieli wziąć rewanż za DreamHack.
Well, Snoopy, I'll let you get sat down and get ready for your first game. Let's hear it once again for Snoopy and for CLG.eu. And I think that's about enough of us that the people should have to take in one go. So how about we throw it up to the commentators?
Yep. Joe, one word you need to learn before we go off.
Uh-oh.
Nara.
And good afternoon. Welcome back to the League of Legends tournament here in Poland. I'm going to have to shuffle over. I'm thinking... Get closer to you. Yeah, get the Jack combo closer. So it is going to be CLG versus Ocelot World. I'm going to have to get used to saying that one. I've been calling them Existence. Now, for those that are unaware, Existence, I did a post yesterday, the other day on Reddit, and basically, you know, Existence have had good results, or Ocelot World, I'm going to have to call them that from now on. Right. They've beaten Moscow 5. Not only once, but twice in online tournaments lately. So they're not to be written off straight away. I mean, these are a good team. They've got players in here, say, for example, Samux has stepped in for Fnatic a few times before. He's been the top laner when Shushe was having issues. And for a while, it looked like he may well become the top laner. And obviously, they went and got Soaz, which was a fantastic pickup for Fnatic. However, Fnatic didn't qualify for this tournament, and Existence did. And CLG, well, we all know CLG, don't we? They are a fantastic tournament team. And, you know, they turn up. That's the big thing. I mean, it's all well and good to have these results online, which can be one fantastic thing. But unless you actually do it on LAN, it's a whole different ball game. And you know, Curse, obviously we've seen them this morning. They were big talkers about this. When I was doing my predictions, I was asking the players, obviously speaking to them, and they were big talkers. You know, and in fact, even in the interviews today, Angus said, you know, we don't fear CLG. We beat them all the time and everything. It's like, yeah, but not on LAN. You've not played them on LAN yet, and you've not come up big. Now, obviously, they are now top of the Group A, so the second place from this group are going to be facing Curse. Top will be facing SK, so they know who they're likely to face. The question is, who will it be? CLG, got to be favourites. Moscow 5, definitely got to be favourites in there. Existence, well, Ocelot World, I'm going to get that one completely wrong all the time. Ocelot World, you know what? They could throw an upset in there. I don't know much about Elo Hell, other than the fact it's a pretty good lineup. But how are they going to play as a team? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's actually funny how you mentioned that Ocelot World has beaten M5 in a couple events, because I was talking with CLG actually earlier. I said, what do you know about X6 or Existence or Ocelot World? Yeah. And they said, we don't know anything about them.
We don't know anything about them.
So the fact that they're actually a good team, if they've beaten Moscow 5 in some of these online events, means they have a chance to catch CLG a little bit off guard.
Yeah. Well, and Curse, prime example, they're just walking past up the stairs at the moment. Prime example, you know, got a little bit sloppy. Lost to Meet Your Makers earlier on today. So, you know, they were looking to go 3-0 in the group, and then bam, they had an upset against a team that really didn't even look close to being in it in the 2 games prior to that. So, you know, the upsets can happen. Group games are simply one match. There's no best of 3. You could have a mistake, a bad level 1 fight, just a bad fight in general somewhere, just a bad team fight. Something's, you know, and the AD carry gets out of position, gets caught early, something like that. An Urgot swap or something crazy happens, and you know, suddenly there's all sorts of problems. So, you know, these things can happen in tournament games, and you know, they want points. CLG are obviously coming on for the back of, well, a brilliant result.
The thing is, though, they might be a little jet lagged from travel too. So that's another thing to
they
factor
think
in.
Snoopy had an interview. I'm hogging it here.
No, that's fine.
But Snoopy was saying, actually, today they're feeling great. It's tomorrow they're worried about. That, you know, bearing in mind they've got to get there tomorrow to start with, but you know, being presumptuous. But they were saying, we're a little bit worried jet lag's going to hit us tomorrow, because that's, you know, that's when you travel, it's a couple of days. So like you guys have probably got hit today. maybe by the jet lag. Actually, it's not. You don't so much get it coming this way,
We
but
got
going
in
back, I
on
guess.
Wednesday night, so we actually been trying to
Okay.
get rid of it for the most part. The thing I'd actually worry about for the most on CLG isn't actually the jet lag. It's the fact that they haven't played much League in the past 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Because they practiced a whole bunch up until their group stage in the OGN, but right after that they traveled. Then they were arriving here, and they've been traveling so much, and they've been sitting around watching so much, but they might not have been playing that much because there's really not a place for them to play when they're traveling on the plane or in the hotel. So there could be a little bit of rust that they have to work off right from the get-go, and that's probably their biggest fear at this point.
Yeah, so the picks and bans are coming out, and as you can see, the bans were done very quickly, in fact. They knew what they were after. Vladimir Kassadin and Aurelia banned out by CLG, so I know for a fact they went onto Elo Buff, and they were doing a bit of research on the players. They were checking them out to find out who they should be banning, so they've clearly targeted Samux up the top there, I guess, is what they've gone with the Vladimir and Aurelia. Urgot and Nivea Malphite, no shock there. Anyone that watched the CLG game in the OGN the other day would have seen Wicked playing an absolutely outstanding Malphite. He had, I think it was about 40% penetration and then full armor. It's like, yeah, my ulti's going to hurt you and you're not going to do nothing to me. So it was a very strong Anivia. Well, Froggen, what can we say? He's been absolutely outstanding lately, and it looks like he's going to get Karthus.
Yeah, and looking how CLG actually let Shen through to Ocelot World, that's something that they do fairly often. CLG.eu is very comfortable playing against Shen, whereas everyone else pretty much just wants to perma-ban him. So it's just a stylistic thing by CLG. They have a lot of confidence in being able to deal with something like Shen.
Yeah, and Leona coming out. That's an interesting one. I know for a fact from the DreamHack days, I think he played him once in the group stage, and we were like, oh, we didn't think you liked playing it. He's like, no, I love playing it. The team won't let me play it because he goes very aggressive, and you know, he has the same deal with Gosu Pepper and Genja. Gosu Pepper says, you know, my AD carry goes as in Genja is very, very passive. Yellow Pete is a similar type of thing. Obviously, the fact that you're pulling out Leona says we're going to be aggressive in lane.
Yeah, and I actually like that because with Karthus, every time they get aggressive in the bottom lane, it's just more likely to work since Yellow Pete's going to be able to throw his ultimate in there. And that could be a fairly interesting pick. This is actually, I wanted to reference back a little bit. I was talking with CLG earlier today while we were watching the games, and they were saying how Alistair is either banned or first pick in every game in Korea. So they're kind of taking some of that into this tournament here, just as soon as Alistair gets through, just locking him down right away.
Yeah, he's a very strong champion. It's something that Snoopy's been so strong on for many months that I can remember. Even back to when he was an SK jungler, he was still rocking Alistair back then. So he's very strong, but they had a change of pick there. They did have Darius selected for a while there, but they changed it to Ari in the middle, so which means, I'm guessing, it would have made sense because where the hell will Nocturne would have fit? I don't know. So it's going to be Shen on the top lane. I believe, actually,
no, that's
Shen
probably
jungle.
Whoa,
hang on a minute.
Yeah,
What's going on here? Yeah, this is, whoa.
All right, Kennen
AD
bottom?
Kennen?
Probably, that would be the most likely thing.
I thought AD Kennen was pretty much hurt these days. This is the Jace patch we're on, and I'm pretty sure he was hurt in this patch.
I think he was. I think Kennen has 550 attack range in this patch as we see Rumble getting locked in. So either they have to know that Kennen has shorter attack range because it's been like that for a while.
Yeah.
And it might just be that's what they've chosen to pick up against Leona lane. Rather confusing to both of us, though.
Catching us both out. And, of course, Rumble being selected. Now, nobody else has gone with this. You were talking about this last night.
Yes. So Rumble actually is really, really strong on this patch, and CLG is one of the first teams to actually realize this. He had a Flame Spitter change that actually makes it hit substantially more often than it used to. It used to be fairly unreliable. So he is incredibly strong in this patch on the Jace. So Wicked playing that Rumble, he's not even that necessarily known for Rumble, but he's picked it up because he recognizes the power of it right now, and Wicked just wanting to run that up in the top lane against Shen. It's going to be really interesting to see how Wicked does with it.
And interestingly enough, as far as I recall, Shoeshade's very good on Rumble. So I wonder whether he's going to be pulling him out for Elo buffs. That's something to check out later on. Elo Hell, I should say, not Elo buff. Giving the wrong advertisement. So what are the teams? How do you think these stack up? I mean, this is a very strong CLG lineup to me.
Yeah, it seems like CLG actually got everything they wanted. So I kind of have to give them the edge there. In the banning phase, at least, it looks like they were very targeted in banning against Ocelot World, where the only real target ban that Ocelot World did against CLG was the Anivia. So CLG pretty much just free-picked whatever they wanted and didn't really seem to get countered that hard. They were able to pick the Rumble into an advantageous matchup. Froggen on Karthus, I have not seen him really lose to anyone. And then the Corki Leona against, you know, AD Kennen and Janna, they're going to get super, super aggressive in that lane. So really, all across the board, I like CLG's chances so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, they went with really the generic bans that I guess, I mean, everybody has to ban Anivia out. We just saw how strong Anivia was in the SK game a moment ago. You know, when it came to actually attacking the tower, it was a case of, we're going to put the wall here, my ulti here, and I'm just going to free shoot with Kog'Maw because you can't do anything about it. And if anyone does get caught out, they're simply going to die because you're just going to get completely caught. So there are the teams. I mean, from my point of view, Ocelot will have a strong team. They generally used to be very aggressive. I'm going to be interested to see whether that's going to live true or not, whether they're going to stay that sort of pattern. Ocelot World are going to be starting as the red team. They are up in the top right-hand corner. To give you a quick rundown in case you missed the picks and bans and have just tuned in and thought, oh my God, Group B started. Let's get on. Let's get that Riot stream on. It is going to be Bebetta. He is the support down in the bottom lane as Janna, and it will be Jim Bowens, which anyone who's not English would mean nothing to.
Yeah.
Well, Jim Bowen used to be a famous TV presenter, but it was a pretty cheesy TV program as well. But anyway, nevertheless, we're completely getting distracted. He's going to be on AD Kennen. That's going to be down that bottom lane. Samux will be up the top lane on Shen. So the double ninja, isn't it like a one-hit point nerf when there's two ninjas or something?
Left if there's more ninjas in the game.
Yeah. So I know there's
synergy right
there's
there.
a bunch of little niggly facts, the things that people might not know about the game. Morden in the jungle, he's going to be on Nocturne, and Extermin in the middle will be on Ahri. For CLG, you're going to have Froggen on Karthus opposite Extermin, and well, we know Froggen is extremely strong. I think he went without dying for quite a lot of games in DreamHack. I couldn't pull the stat out. I just remember during the whole open stage, because obviously they had to qualify through the open brackets, I don't recall him dying at all in the open bracket, and he was just picking kills up at will. Meanwhile, in the jungle, you can see there is Snoopy on Alistair, Longhorn Alistair as well. Ooh, getting a little Croats Rumble is there. So Wicked on Rumble. That's going to be the top lanes. Like I say, I've not seen too much how they've been scrimming. Obviously, CLG have been scrimming each other a lot. I haven't really been able to watch a lot of that. Snoopy said they've not took them too seriously. It's been more done like as a contractual thing to keep the fans happy, the spectators happy, etc. CLG, who doesn't want to see that after all? Crepo, meanwhile, is going to be down that bottom lane on Leona, and of course Yellow Pete on Corki alongside him as they just take the golems. The Wolves were picked up by Morden, so they haven't been given across to the Kennen AD. I mean, how do you stand from your point of view regarding this whole map situation of the players regard so highly these days?
Yeah. So with the bottom lane there, Yellow Pete and Crepo able to get the early advantage pretty much just because they got the experience from the double golems. And that's just going to lead to them being able to bully early and often. As soon as they hit level 2, they're going to be able to jump on top of Kennen and Janna because really the biggest advantage you're going to get in lane is when you're one level ahead right at the start. So that's an extremely strong advantage, and the fact that Ocelot World didn't do anything to try to counter that or get experience for themselves means they're just taking it.
Yeah, they're going to take it, so let's see whether Yellow Pete does shove that in their face. Generally, they try and push them, zone them out. They did just hit level 2. Morden picking up the red buff.
That's a good red. He actually saved Smite from the blue buff, so now if he wants to do an early gank, he'll be able to. The problem with that is CLG plays passively so well that they're very rarely open to early ganks. Just their whole strategy is about sitting back and farming, and that's especially what they have to do this game. You said that Ocelot World wants to be really aggressive, and that's pretty much all their composition's going to be able to do here. As Alistair looks in the bottom lane for a gank as Snoopy, he doesn't seem to be able to get it. But once Nocturne and Shen hit 6, they just have so much ability to be anywhere at any time. They really want to force skirmishes on CLG.
That's it. It's a very universal team that can get around the map very quickly. We saw Shen earlier on, how strong he was. I'm trying to think what game it was this morning already.
It was the very first game, actually, against...
MYM Acer.
MYM versus Acer.
Yeah, very strong lane phase. Obviously, as soon as any big fight comes in, like you mentioned, Nocturne could be attacking down the bottom. He could easily just ulti down there, and suddenly you've got a 4-on-2 situation.
Yeah, so Nocturne's actually up in this top rush. He's waiting to gank Wicked, but the creep wave is actually pushing towards Wicked's tower. I feel like he's going to be contented just letting it come in, and I think Nocturne's going to end up wasting a whole bunch of his time. The only thing that works here is if Shen can get the taunt into the Nocturne Fear, otherwise Wicked's just going to flash away.
Yeah, and there you go. Nocturne shows himself. If you go back to top lane, they did try and have a go at Wicked, and as you mentioned, quite happy to back away. Alistair was just coming around the side there, so Snoopy was taking a look. but didn't really go for it. The ping goes down. They know he's still in the bush, and they're just going to back away from that one. Meanwhile, the bottom lane was being shoved up to the turret there. So Kennen being very aggressive early on, as you'd expect. I did notice he got a good stun on Crepo. Crepo tried to zone them out a little bit, weren't really standing for it, and he just went for the stun on tower there as well, Crepo. So they are looking for things on the turret here, but Yellow Pete not really missing any of the CS either. 23 CS to 22, so very even down that bottom lane. The mid lane, I just saw Karthus going and taking his own wraiths as well. I didn't see whether he took the enemy ones.
We're going to have some action up here top. Snoop has been camping in that brush, and Morden's going to walk right into it, so there's going to be something that happens here.
Yeah, and they go straight in, and he just literally brushes the backside of the cow.
They got scared of each other, basically.
Get that sense of beef.
Away.
Oh, and they are going to dive in towards Yellow Pete here. He's got ignited, but he's not going to follow it through. Leona was actually up in the middle there, putting the ward down, and now it's going to force Yellow Pete straight back, though. And their fitness regime in Korea, apparently, Yellow Pete goes for a 45-minute run every morning. There you go. Bit of factual information for you. Keeping them healthy in mind and body as well. That seems to be their philosophy. Seems to be working out well for them there. But better, I'm not too sure where he was aiming at with that Howling Gale. Whether he was just trying to work the minions down a little bit, do it short and early.
Yeah, so the actual last AD cannon I saw, I believe, was when Moscow 5 was doing it way back at IEM Kiev. But with that said, his harass potential is still really high. They've been able to poke Yellow Pete out of this lane, put a bunch of damage down on the Crepo, and yeah, these early ganks are just not really flying. People playing extremely passively early and not much doing so far.
Yeah, so Snoop is looking for it. He had the same situation at DreamHack when he was on Alistair. He just didn't really get lucky with any of those ganks. There's no wards. Oh, he has. He's just walked straight past one. Straight past it, yeah. And there you go. Kennen just quickly surging. Lightning surge, isn't it? Lightning surges away.
Lightning rush. Yeah, there we go.
Lightning rush?
Yeah, that's the one.
I never get the names right.
That's all right. The ball of lightning that Kennen can do.
Everybody knew what I meant. It's all good. So Nocturne again, and this seems to be a problem for both Snoopy and for Morden. Neither of them able to get those ganks. Morden going looking again this time to Rumble. Rumble is a little bit further up lane though. He might get there. Here we go. They're going to go for it. Shen gets the taunt in there. There's the fear proc. It is going to get fear procced off. Will it be enough? He's going to not have flash up. He's not going to be able to get away from this one. Will he be able to take Morden down with him? He tries to get the lunge on him. There goes to give the Karthus ult. He uses the spell shield, and very nicely played by Morden. And Shen picks up first blood. A great gank, and that's what they needed.
Yeah, and they also managed to get the ultimate out of Froggen, which is really big for them, because this means when Leona hits level 6, which he's really close to, they won't be able to do that all in aggression combined with the Karthus ult. So not only does Shen get that, Shen hit 6, Shen got his ultimate, burn Karthus ultimate, which means the next engagement is going to be a huge advantage for Ocelot World, no matter where it happens, just because no Karthus ult and a Shen ult.
Yeah, just as long as it happens soon enough. And of course, obviously, we are in the patch where the global ultis were increased to 120.
It's 180 second cooldown for Karthus, and even longer for Shen. I think Shen's is up around 200. So if you want to use it, it's going to be a while until it comes back.
Yeah, good 3 minutes. So let's see how this is going to work out for them. CLG, meanwhile, keeping steady. And, you know, they're not afraid to sit and farm. They're one of the teams that will quite happily do it.
They love to farm. They are the most conservative team in pretty much the whole world right now. They will sit back and farm because they know when they pick their compositions, they pick them to win late game and they pick them to freeze lanes and stall. And that's what they're probably going to be forced into doing because of how aggressive Ocelot World has been so far and how Ocelot World actually has the edge right now.
Okay, let's look at this build. You've seen, we saw Ocelot actually doing this earlier exactly with Gragas. Just going for the Sorcerer's Boots first. No item outside of it.
Yes, that's the Rumble build on Wicked. He realizes the base damage of his Flame Spitter is so high. When you actually max it, it'll do 450 damage, and if you're in Danger Zone, it's 595. So the fact that he's just getting the early Magic Pen is what he really, really wants because the AP ratio doesn't come into account when you're doing 600 base damage.
That's it. Meanwhile, Heart of Gold comes out for Shen at the top lane. Of course, obviously building up those Mercury Treads as well. Has picked up a pink ward as well, so keep our eye on whether Rumble actually places that ward and whether that pink ward follows it straight away. Catalyst coming out for Karthus, meanwhile. I'm just looking at the supports, because the supports lately have been very much GP10 dominated.
Yeah, and neither of them have actually been able to complete any GP10. Crepo there actually with a Fairy Charm and a Heart of Gold, so he's getting a little bit of both. He wants the Heart of Gold because he's worried about the Nocturne gank in particular. They do not want to be able to just get bursted down as soon as Nocturne looks into that lane. And I'm just waiting for Ocelot World to make their move here because they have every small advantage right now. It's really just a matter of they have to push something because CLG wants to stall so hard.
Yeah, and a very early Oracle's coming out in here for Snoopy. This is something he tends to do. I say very early, it's about 9 minutes in, that's not too bad. He has only got boots of mobility though, so he's got no tanking items, no GP items. He's just gone pure Oracle, so we're going to have to make that pay really, make sure he doesn't lose it out. They're going to be diving on towards Froggen in the mid lane. Meanwhile, the Fear Proc will go off, and it was a good Fear Proc. It sent him the right way. Shen comes in with the ulti. Morden just about gets away with that one. You can see the late waves coming out, and again, just as you mentioned, the ulti is not available. It's just up in around about 20 seconds time, but he's already dead.
Even though that was a successful gank, that was kind of really sloppy and really brute force. They did not actually coordinate that very well. The Nocturne took substantially more damage than they need to, more than that is, and they did get the conversion kill onto Froggen, but they used pretty much everything, which means the next time the Karthus ult is up, the advantage is back to CLG as far as globals.
Yeah, Crepo just used his ulti down the bottom there. They're going for Babetta. There is the Karthus ulti, and Babetta's used the ulti to try and counter it. It will go down. Can they get Jim as well? Oh, this last hit. It wasn't a big bomb that came out. It wasn't quite enough, and again, that was 2 or 3 ultis all used at once there to get 1 kill.
That was just the chain reaction from what happened earlier in mid. The Shen ult seemed to be used kind of unnecessarily to kill Froggen, and CLG realized that they now had a brief global advantage and immediately pounced on the bottom lane, just so aware of where everyone is on the map. And that's one of the reasons I think CLG is so willing to give Shen and Nocturne away to other teams where most people want to ban them away, because they are extremely good at just knowing when skills are up and when they need to make moves, and that's exactly what they did there.
So Ward's going down on top lane, and as it stands, Karthus is slowly but surely building that Rod of Ages up, which is going to be his first item. Ari, meanwhile, has gone for the Cage's Lucky pick. I've noticed that a couple of times Ari's been going towards this. I think it was Extermin's Ari. He's round and sat in front of me somewhere. Not Extermin, Extinct's Ari went for the Cage's Lucky pick early on. Meanwhile, we've got Morden sitting in the bush. We've got Ari with him, and it's going to be a 3-man dive onto Wicked. I don't believe he's going to be able to get out of this one any way, shape, or form. The question is, can he take anyone with him? Does put his ulti down in a nice place, straight towards Morden. Well, so Morden down very nicely played from Wicked, and he survives. And now Extermin is taken down very low as well. If only he had a little bit of support, that was a fantastic 3v1 dupe.
Yeah, and that just goes to show how strong Wicked can be on Rumble. Really well-placed ult there. Every time someone wanted to dive into the tower, they had to sit in the persistent slow of an ultimate. As there's a big fight with Dragon, by the way, never mind, going down from CLG. The 3-man gank up top just allows them to take that free Dragon. So yeah, once again, CLG just really aware of where people are on the map and what exactly they can do.
Yeah, instant reactions there, and CLG are one of those teams, just like their North American brothers, they insist that, you know, if the Dragon's there to be taken, yeah, fine, but we're not going to fight for it. We're quite happily let it sit back. And the CLG game, I don't think Dragon came out till about half an hour in. It was a very passive start from both teams. But 12 minutes gone, Dragon is down, and now you can see they do have the timer on there. That is the production staff giving you the nice information, which means I'm going to have to really squint at that. I think it says 17:30, so that's going to be when the next comes up. Haunting Guy's now picked up.
That's smart.
And this is a lot of armor penetration.
Yeah,
This
is just Wicked taking advantage of the base damage from Flamespitter. Even though Shen is trying to mass some magic resistance, he's up to 91. I imagine Wicked's around 50 or 60 magic pens, so it's actually still very useful. And you can just see that they can't get close to Wicked because that Flamespitter is going to crush anyone who comes near him.
Yes, causing Samux problems despite that early gank advantage he did have. It seems to be slowly but surely creeping CLG's way. Gold-wise, it's still very even, despite the fact they did pick up that Dragon, which tells me that the farming session from Ocelot World has actually worked out in their favor. Let's have a look down the board. You see 100 CS to 123 mid, so quite a big advantage for Karthus in that mid lane at the moment. So Froggen, the stun just coming out from Crepo again, not quite catching on towards Kennen. Morden, meanwhile, helping out, picking up that blue buff for Extermin. Yep. The bottom lane, as it stands at the moment, is pretty even still. 99 to 97 CS. Both supports also got a GP10 item, but again, another GP10 item just been bought by...
Yeah, I don't like the GP10 strategy from Ocelot World here. Their Gambit is really kind of early game intensive, whereas you can see CLG is clearly playing to get past this point. The fact that they're going kind of double GP10 on Ari, they have a Kennen who by himself is a bit of a lane Gambit. We see, you know, you have to win that lane with Kennen, otherwise he kind of falls off. And just all around, they need to be building to win now, whereas the GP10 is kind of a win later strategy, but that's just not going to work against CLG.eu.
They just don't have that late game team compared to CLG.eu.
Not really, no.
Karthus is just going to get just stronger and stronger and stronger. Corki will definitely tailor that way. Well, Kennen will certainly fall away. He'll be strong in the team fights, but as an AD Kennen, not as strong as an AP Kennen would be, and he's going to be having problems that game.
Yeah, and that's just all around. The Ahri's going to have trouble dashing into a really fed Karthus. Rumble is just crazy, crazy damage, as we've seen already. It's a matter of Ocelot World, they have to take advantage of this right now, and with their item builds, it's becoming increasingly difficult for them to actually push an advantage.
And in terms of crowd control, when it does come to that team fight, I would not fancy diving in against CLG right now. They're going to have Leona throwing them slows down. Wicked's going to be throwing the slows down. Froggen's going to be throwing the slows down. Snoopy's going to be launching people in the air. It is a lot of control for late game, and Yellow Pete really has so much survivability. He's just going to be quite happy to sit back on Corki. We saw it earlier with a Quadra for Ezreal. I'm trying to think who it was.
Yeah, there was an Ezreal Quadra.
It was Slepper
Yep.
on Ezreal. Yeah, he was just quite happy to sit at the back, and he just had complete control. Everybody was helping him, supporting him, defending him. He just managed to pick up that Quadra because nobody could simply get near him, and I got a feeling this is going to go the same way for Yellow Pete.
It very well could, and I actually want to point out how well Snoopy's been doing with that Oracle. So one thing that actually stops you from getting really aggressive is if you don't ever have vision of anything. So the fact that Snoopy's been able to run around and just clear out the wards has kind of just like taken down Ocelot's World ability to do anything with safety, and because of that, they've also adopted a passive playstyle, which is really just playing right into CLG's hands.
It certainly is, and he's still lingering in that tri-bush.
He's
He
been there
thought
for a
about going
while.
back. Yeah, he has been there for a while. He's got that boost to mobility, so if he comes around that corner, he will be very quick. And I think he's just waiting for Ocelot World to just make that little push, but he's got to be aware of the fact that Shen could come up, and I think he's waiting for Shen to get harassed. Shen is being harassed on the top lane as well while they go for this one, so it's a double gank going on here, but Betts was actually forced away from that one. Meanwhile, Shen was being harassed. He's gone down to half health there onto Ocelot World, and that top tower is definitely going to be taken down, so Samux was forced into a dangerous situation so they can make that attack at bottom.
That's just another reason why CLG is so comfortable playing against Shen, because they understand how to prevent him from becoming effective. Normally when you try to get aggressive in the bottom lane, as we see Ahri coming down here potentially for a dive, is Shen just turns it around. But as you said, Wicked harassing the crap out of Shen as they do things aggressively bottom lane, just making sure he can't come in there.
Yeah, meanwhile, that bottom tower may well go down here, and Kennen choosing to actually take the turret rather than sit on it, which often the bottom ADs will quite happily do. Top turret does go down as well, so one turret apiece here. Just 1k gold still between the two teams. Froggen now with that Rod of Ages and the blue buff will be quite happy to farm it away here, but Extermin seems to be the one pushing the pace. He has fell behind a little bit in terms of CS. There's around about 40 CS difference, which equates to probably about 1,000 gold, I'd say.
That's a pretty decent chunk of CS for Froggen there, but because of the kill that Ahri is able to pick up, even with that, though, Froggen's still ahead by about 200 gold, so really well farmed by Froggen. And now that Ocelot World has taken that tower, they really have to start forcing around. Kennen and Janna shouldn't just be running bottom lane to farm again. They need to go and start trying to take objectives. They need to start trying to push down Froggen. They need to start invading the jungle, because if they don't, they're just going to slowly lose to this superior late-game CLG.eu team. And right now, I just do not see the sense of urgency from Ocelot World.
Yeah, the ping's gone down on R8. They are going to take the wraiths away. Froggen just went back. Crepo's going to come around. Snoopy gets charmed up, pretty much hits a half health. They're going to actually just back away from that one. They're not too sure where the rest of the team was, and wisely so, because Morden is there with his Oracle, takes down that ward, and getting in position for the Dragon that's just spawned.
Yep.
And this is going to be possibly the first team fight. Shen can stay in that top lane. The whole of CLG are getting in position. They are all around here, so this could be the very first 5v5 that happens there. Morden. Ooh.
Yeah, CLG will wait, actually, I'm thinking, until Ocelot World starts on this Dragon. Or, no, they're actually taking the initiative. They're going to force Shen to ult in here, most likely, and just try to actually force a team fight. This is not very much like CLG. They really feel like they're far ahead here, and they really feel like they have an advantage in a team fight. This is an uncharacteristically aggressive play by them. Normally, they just let the other team start on Dragon.
And they need to do it quick, because they realize that Shen's just going to keep pushing that top turret, and they're saying, fine, you're going to either have that top turret or you're going to have to come and deal with us. And they've taken that Dragon down to half health already, and I think Ocelot World, have just wisely said, no, we can't get involved in that one. We're going to happily take the top turret, though, and that will be Samux picking up the top turret. So 2-1 advantage in terms of turrets. Bottom turret down, and obviously going tutorial style just to get that mid one down. So Morden's going to give off that blue to Extermin. Froggen now with a brilliant spot running, actually.
That's really surprising. they were definitely expecting to see a fight there, I think. Otherwise, you would not have elixired up. Whenever people buy those mid-game elixirs, it's because they're trying to force fights. And I guess the fact that they got the dragon was enough. So for them, that was just trying to get a temporary boost in power to give them more confidence in a team fight that they thought was going to happen.
As it is, he did get that needlessly large rod, so he is still very strong, very aware that they could dive him. We've seen many a dive so far this tournament on towards that middle turret, and Exterminator just trying to get a quick blast on him, but Froggen very aware of the exact range of those glass balls, and they're just going to go down back to bottom lane. And this is what you talked about, you know, they need to start pushing the pace. They've took the turrets down, they need to start making something happen, because as it is, Yellow Pete's happily gone back to that bottom turret, that bottom lane, and just completely farmed it up again.
He just shoves up, goes back to base, buys items, waits for Kennen to shove, goes back and does it again. It's just rinse and repeat. And Ocelot World, as this game gets later and later, their chances of winning go lower and lower. As we see Snoopy get taunted a little bit, they still haven't even gotten that Oracles off of Snoopy, despite being such a mobile team themselves. They really are just playing into CLG's hands here with their passiveness. And, you know, the split pushing Shen, not really getting much done. All it's done is trading a tower for a dragon. Huge, huge advantage for CLG here, even though it may not look it.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going to try and shove on towards the middle turret here. And that would be a big one if they can take it down. Charm lands on towards Wicked there. Glass ball flashes through. Minion's about to wear off. Yellow Pete does enough damage on towards the turret, though, to cause some problems. Wicked taking about half health off there, though. Crepo finally joins them. And they have this 5-man push. Kennen's going to be down the bottom, which means they're just going to show and say, fine, we're going to continue pushing it. They realize Nocturne is there. But Kennen out of the picture. It means they're just going to continue on their path, pushing on towards this turret. Oh, but Babetta getting slowed there. My Wicked is, I can never remember the name of it, the lance thing that comes out from him. I know the skill, not the name, but they are going to try and hammer down this turret. They have enough minions. Sure. They will certainly get this one. Meanwhile, Kennen is now madly trying to come back. And this is a possible, I mean, I never understand when they get in this situation. It's like, as soon as you show yourself down that bottom lane, surely it just says, take the turret.
Yeah, so unless they wanted to commit to continue to push those towers, there was no reason for them to really stay down there for as long as they did. They saw that Shen was top and Ken was bottom, so it was a free either 5v3 or 5v4, just another free turret for CLG. They're just very aware of where people are, like we're saying, and they consistently get advantages because of it. So even though Ocelot World should have had a much more aggressive early and mid-game, the towers are 2-2, so they really haven't gained anything from their aggressive team composition, and it's just this game, as it gets later and later, the more towers that fall and the longer it stretches, the bigger Froggen gets, and, you know, the more magic pin Wicked gets on that Rumble, about to complete an Abyssal Scepter.
Yeah, the Abyssal Scepter about to come out, just about to say, so the not only penetration, the resist will be down as well. And that's going to open things up nicely for Froggen's ulti when he gets a chance to get involved in them fights. Meanwhile, Trinity Force also completed by Corki, in opposed to Kennen, who went actually for a Bloodthirster.
That's an interesting build. The thing about Kennen, though, is he has pretty good AD ratio on his W, his Electrical Surge. Every 5 attacks, he does another attack that is 80% bonus, so it's actually kind of 180% attack. It's not bad to stack AD on Kennen. It's just probably not as strong as the Trinity Force Corki when he gets rolling in team fights.
It's clearly a bit of a favor there. Wicked actually getting pulled onto the turret. Gets a good slow on towards Extermin there. Froggen landing a couple of layaways. The rest of the team starting to stack around here. They realize that Kennen is coming back down. They have just pinged the bottom lane, and that's not going to be pushed. So Yellow Pete's going to see if he can get a couple of shots off on towards his turret. Snoopy comes around to join him. Snoopy now with another GP10 item, Heart of Gold and Philo Stone, to go with what he'd already had.
Yeah, CLG has done such a good job containing Ocelot World. With the amount of global presence and roam that Ocelot World has, there's surprising that they're grouped up as 5 here, and here's a huge team fight going down.
Yeah, they dived on towards Yellow Pete there. The Leona ulti came out there. Samux, meanwhile, getting drilled heavily there. Snoopy quite happily tanking the turret, but CLG took a lot of damage from that, and Wicked and Yellow Pete had to back away from that one. Look how low Yellow Pete is right now. He is absolutely on the limit. Will the Karthus ulti pick anything up? No, it will not. The Babetta ulti manages to save quite a few of them there, but Corki got absolutely shredded down. I think he got caught in the charm just at the start of the fight, which pulled him in towards the tower. A couple of tower hits on him, but that was a very, very close fight for both teams.
That fight could have been a lot worse for Ocelot World if they hadn't taken Corki really low at the start, and then if they hadn't just been fighting on top of their own towers. Even after the fight, they actually had to burn Shen and Janna ultimate just to not die to Froggen's ultimate. And the fact that they have this high roam, high mobility team, and CLG has kind of grouped them up, corralled them around towers, and started forcing 5v5 team fights, just shows to me that Ocelot World has lost control of this game in a lot of ways. They need to be able to roam around. They need to be able to force their own fights on their terms, and right now it's actually CLG dictating.
Yeah, so Wicked's return back to top lane. There's a Rabadon's death cap on Karthus. That's going to hurt now. A lot of ability power suddenly stacked up on him. Meanwhile, he's also gone for another brilliant pot there. So Froggen's stacking them pots out. So he's expecting another fight. I'm guessing this time for the Dragon. I think the time at the time is coming up at 24-21. So it is due in 20 seconds time. So I would expect them both teams to be starting to head towards there. Nocturne in the meanwhile is still in top. I think he's just going to be backing off. And Yellow Pete and Crepo clearing the waves. They realize they are going to head down that south.
This is a really large creep wave up top, so if Rumble, luckily Wicked's down here to clear it. If they would not have left that, if they would have let that creep wave push in, then they would not have been able to contest this Dragon. But I think Wicked's going to be able to push this back far enough that he can then run to the Dragon and control it in a 5v5 engagement. Both teams just all grouping up and running towards this Dragon. And unless Ocelot World can steal this right now, they're going to lose a big team fight to CLG.
Yeah, and here comes CLG moving in. They have managed to take it down to half health already. They've caught out to Morden, though. Morden with the Oracle on as well. Well, the Dragon has been dropped, though, very quickly. Also, will do move around into this one. They do not really want to get involved in this fight. Extermin heavily damaged down. Crepo does get dropped there by Ari. Very nicely played. Samux will certainly go down. And Extermin also very low. Extermin's going to try and bash away from this one. Just about gets out. Will the Karthus ulti not be available? So, obviously, was just used in the last exchange. He would have picked up a kill on Janna. But as it is, Wicked's going to come back around there. Wicked was a little bit late for that fight, and Ocelot World did just about enough to win that one.
Wicked was a little late for that fight, and
no.
he missed his ultimate pretty much. He only barely ticked on one person with that ultimate, and then did not even block off Ocelot World's escape path. So a really well-executed fight by Ocelot World, and a little bit sloppy by CLG.eu. Ocelot World getting the 1-for-1 and the Dragon, really good sign for them. They just have to now continue to roam around and do more sneaky things like forcing those Dragons.
Yeah, and they didn't really get any important kills. I think Morden didn't go down in that, did he? He still got the Oracle on him. I'm pretty sure he survived it just out of the eye shot. Yeah, there we go, with the Oracle on. So he did manage to survive. So he was the primary target they first went for, and he managed to get away, which means the rest of the team were really sitting fairly pretty there. So Froggen, meanwhile, farming up, got himself a... did he just pick up the blue buff? I think he just did. Yes, it is. It looks like it's on a nice, fresh reset there. And then Snoopy's going to try and dive in. Actually, Crepo going to dive in towards Extermin there. Not too sure that's really what he wanted to do. He's going to force a little bit of a fight there. And Froggen's taken down very low. Extermin thought about diving for this one. Samux now there. Mid-tower will go down. And that is advantage in terms of tower to Ocelot World.
This is really good by Ocelot World right now. This is what they actually wanted to be doing about 10 minutes ago.
Extermin's going to get caught out. There's the Karthus ulti, but Beto is going to get taken down. A bad team fight. Triple kill now for Wicked. Can he make it a quadra? They're going to try and catch on towards Morden and headbutt pulverize. Oh, what a great fear there from Morden. Finally, they do come back around, though. There's going to be Morden going down. Yellow Pete will pick that one up. That's a 4-for-0 exchange and instantly moves into Baron.
It's kind of funny that this is CLG.eu because this is very reminiscent of how CLG used to play about a year ago in the NA side. They just kind of wait and wait and wait almost the whole game, and then they seem to just turn a switch and pounce. They get the 4 kills, they get the Baron, and now they're just catastrophically in the lead, and Ocelot World is super, super far behind. So it's going to be really difficult for them to come back after giving up those 4 kills and the Baron.
Yeah, so 27 minutes gone. There is the Baron. 8-3 in terms of kills, and you know, they should have just took that mid turret and said, okay, that's enough. We need to back off.
Yeah.
But instead, they've just fed Wicked. And you know what? 5-1-2. That's a pretty harsh rumble right there. And I think we might see a rumble ban maybe against Moscow 5. I'm not too sure. Yeah,
it's pretty surprising, too, because most rumbles you see will either build that Hextech Revolver or the Will of the Ancients. And Wicked has actually foregone Spell Vamp entirely. It's slightly curious. He doesn't even have Spell Vamp from his runes or masteries with a quick check, so he's just been able to dodge, harass, and use his shield effectively enough that he hasn't needed to be able to heal up with his spells. Overall, strong play by CLG. They always understand exactly what their team comp is capable of at any point in the game, and that they flip a switch and turn it on, and now they're just going to probably push down these towers.
Yeah, very technical knowledge players. Wicked, and just thinking of the back of the interview with Darian saying about Wicked, you know, it's like, it's not a case of, they never have a medium lane. It will always be one will win bad, you know, one will win big. And they never really know which way it's going to go. He says, but he is a very, very clever player. He knows exactly all the mechanics of this game, and all they need to be careful they don't get caught out on towards that turret there. The wall of pain does come down, and that's going to force them back. Snoopy taking a couple of tower hits there, so Yellow Pete can get a couple of shots on towards the turret, puts a couple of rockets out there, going to get another couple of shots on towards this turret and slowly chip it down. And are they going to make for the dive there? Samux got caught out, but Yellow Pete continues to hammer away on that turret. The tower's surely going to go down. Now they're going to go for it. The Leona ulti comes out. Samux absolutely shredded by the ulti there from Rumble, and Morden will get dropped as well. Alistair actually picking up the kill on that one. Ari was popped instantly, and the turret still has yet to go down. Now it drops, and meanwhile the Karthus ulti sends them all packing back to the fountain, and that's going to give them a free inhibitor.
Yeah, CLG making very good use of this Baron buff. It shows that they're only 6,000 gold ahead, but the way the game is playing shows that they are much, much farther ahead. Now they've taken down that inhibitor, now they still have the Baron. Are they going to continue to push this? They might actually try to get a base tower down here. This is a really aggressive play by them. Let's see what happens.
They're in a hurry here. They want to get things finished. Samux absolutely shredded once again. He's surely going to drop there. Jim Bowen's also going down, and that's a double kill and a Nexus turret, and that's going to cause all sorts of problems. I think this could well be GG for CLG here. They are going to absolutely shred the Nexus apart now. Yellow Pete gets a free attack on it. There's 3 members of Ocelot World just stood watching. Extermin gets dropped. Surely Morden also onto the fountain. They're not going to dive it. They're just going to finish the Nexus off. And beautiful play from CLG.
Really crisp execution there, and I think that just goes to show you really have to pick a strategy when you play against CLG, because Ocelot World did not play very poorly, but they let CLG just sit back and farm. They picked an early game strategy versus CLG's late. They just let CLG get to that point where they really wanted to, and you either have to pick a late game strat to go with them, or you need to beat them early.
Absolutely, and it's the stats says it everything. I mean, Wicked was 7-1-3, I think, at the end of that. Absolutely dominant. The triple kill obviously helping him out massively. 2-0-8 for Yellow Pete. It's going to be interesting to see these stats. We see Snoopy without dying either. He's 1-0-8 as well. You know, to see the fact that these stats happen, you know, will anyone die? I mean, we had the classic thing, Frog and CLG versus CLG did not die at all there. 2-1-6, his stats this time did die. Will he get an Nivea in this tournament? I doubt it.
Probably not. My bets are against him getting a Nivea. I think everyone who goes against CLG will definitely be spending their bans on a Nivea. And then the other kind of needed to ban things. You kind of need to ban Urgot in this tournament. You need to ban Malphite in this tournament. Now you have to ban Rumble too, which means that CLG, aside from those few top champions, is going to have kind of free reign on the type of compositions they have, which does give them a pretty big advantage moving forward.
It does, and it also puts them in that favorite bracket, you got to say, having a pretty confident win over Ocelot World. Ocelot World, in the other chance, though, have beaten Moscow 5 twice. So they've got something in their locker. They can be happy. But we're going to go down to Carmack. We've got plenty of views with the players. Okay, so they're just trying to wait and sort that out. Carmack's having an issue. So you can see Moscow 5 also stood up on stage. I wonder what their result was. I'm going to go with... actually, no.
Or no, they haven't
They're
played
playing
yet.
that. Yeah, because the first 2 games are back-to-back, and then obviously we start playing them backwards. In fact, there will be the next game, Moscow 5 versus Elo Hell. Now, Moscow 5 got to be the favourites for that one. You got any particular knowledge, really, of Elo Hell? I mean, I know a few of their players in there. Obviously, Moscow 5, everybody knows Moscow 5 these days. If you don't, in fact, even the Koreans, everybody. What actually got me, it was interesting for me, OGN championships, as soon as the end, they were like, who do you want? We want Moscow 5. All the Korean teams know them as well. So I believe, hopefully, we will have CLG in an interview shortly. I can see people stood there waiting, ready and waiting for us. So hopefully, they're going to have a problem. So we're going to go to a break anyway, and we're going to try and get things sorted out. So don't go in there, guys. It's going to be Moscow 5 versus Elo Hell coming up shortly.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Draven, the glorious executioner. Draven is a ranged physical carry built around throwing and catching spinning axes. Through his gameplay, Draven can dish out tons of damage and dominate a game. Draven's passive is Wicked Blades. Every time Draven lands a critical strike, his target starts bleeding, taking bonus damage over a few seconds. Spinning Axe causes Draven's next basic attack to deal bonus damage, apply Wicked Blades automatically, and ricochet off of his target. If Draven catches this ricocheted axe, his next basic attack will automatically throw another spinning axe. If Draven throws and catches axes long enough, he can have up to 2 spinning axes at once. Spinning Axe will lead Draven, so if he's standing still, it will fall close by, and if he's running, it will fall along his path. As Draven's main damage tool, I take Spinning Axe at level 1 and max it immediately. Blood Rush grants Draven bonus movement and attack speed for a few seconds. If Draven catches Spinning Axe, Blood Rush's cooldown is immediately refreshed. As a major steroid and damage increase, I take 1 point in Blood Rush early and max it by level 13. Stand Aside throws Draven's axes in a line, damaging, slowing, and knocking aside all enemies they hit. Mostly providing utility, I take 1 point in Stand Aside early, but max it only by level 18. Draven's ultimate is Whirling Death. Draven throws 2 massive axes across the map, damaging all enemies they strike. If Whirling Death hits the edge of the map, an enemy champion, or Draven reactivates the ability early, these axes reverse direction and damage all enemies they encounter on the way back to Draven. As with all ultimates, I take Whirling Death at level 6, 11, and 16. In early laning, try to harass your opponents by hitting as many spinning axes as possible. Use Blood Rush to catch them as they fall, or guide them by heading somewhere safe before Spinning Axe hits an opponent. Be aware that Wicked Blades will cause the turret to focus you, so stay out of range and harass as much as possible, constantly guiding Spinning Axe into safe zones to catch. In lane, sit with 1 Spinning Axe while last hitting minions, and keep catching it until you're ready to engage in battle. Draven heads in on Ezreal but doesn't fully commit because of Alistar. After Alistar uses his stun, Draven activates his 2nd Spinning Axe. Keep Blood Rush active after every catch and keep throwing Spinning Axes. Alistar dies to Wicked Blades, and Cleanse keeps Draven from falling to Ignite for a clean kill in bottom lane. When fighting against Draven in lane, crowd control is your best friend. As Draven opens onto Ezreal with Spinning Axe, Alistar rushes in with Headbutt and Pulverize, completely stopping the push. Draven gets into a battle with Malphite. Slowing with Stand Aside while constantly landing Spinning Axe and reactivating Blood Rush drops Malphite's health pool extremely low. As Malphite runs away, Draven leads him with Whirling Death. While Malphite attempts to juke upward to escape the return blow, Draven does the same, making Whirling Death curl upward and still pick up the kill. Draven is exceptional at cleaning up fights. As he gets into a battle, he finds Renekton low, picking him up with Whirling Death and a flash into a basic attack. Draven turns to hunt Alistar, hitting Blood Rush to catch up and prepare Spinning Axe. Constantly throwing and catching Spinning Axes allows Draven to continue Blood Rush, picking up 2 kills in the fight. In a team fight, Draven's first priority is positioning. Even though he could cleanly hit Shyvana, he runs back behind his team until he can attack enemies from safety. This allows him to chase Shyvana while catching Spinning Axes, and then turn his attention to Rumble. Spinning Axe picks up a kill, but instead of turning back to catch it, Draven charges forward to assist in the team fight. His team picks up the kill on Lulu, and he heads in to chase down Ahri. Udyr leads the charge and stuns her underneath her turret, while Draven is able to assist in the 4th kill of the fight. To deal damage on the run, Draven hits champions with Spinning Axes, then turns so he can keep his distance from enemies, activating Blood Rush to speed up the process. Shyvana is pushed away, and then Draven turns to focus on Rumble. After Rumble falls, he keeps up with his team until finding Ahri overextended. He hits Ahri with Stand Aside into Spinning Axe and a basic attack. Ahri falls to Wicked Blades, and Draven comes out with a double kill. While normally Draven should catch Spinning Axes, do not turn to catch them in front of the enemy team. Draven turns to kill some minions with Spinning Axe. Unfortunately, walking back to catch one puts him right in range of Urgot, which gets him swapped and immediately killed. I recommend building Draven for physical damage output, with a splash of durability for small skirmishes where you'll end up taking damage. For runes, I recommend flat attack damage marks, flat armor seals, magic resist per level glyphs, and flat attack damage quintessences. For masteries, I recommend 2190, focusing on physical damage increases in offense, plus bonus armor and health in defense. I recommend Cleanse and Flash for summoner spells, which will let you take out enemies and escape sticky situations. In Classic, I recommend opening with Boots of Speed and Health Potions. Take 2 Doran's Blades and add Berserker's Greaves. Buy Infinity Edge and add a Vampiric Scepter immediately after. From here, take Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper, Bloodthirster, and Guardian Angel to round out your build. In Dominion, I recommend opening with Boots of Speed, Prospector's Blade, and Health Potions. Add Berserker's Greaves, Infinity Edge, and a Vampiric Scepter, before finishing your build with Phantom Dancer, Sanguine Blade, Last Whisper, and Frozen Mallet. Thanks for tuning in. Just below the video.
A więc wróciliśmy. Tutaj ze mną jest z Riot Games Jaws i Yellow Pete z Counter-Logic Gaming. Poproszę, brawa. So I'm here with Jaws and Yellow Pete. Jaws will conduct the interview. I'll translate it into Polish.
So, Yellow Pete, Jungle Alistar has been really popular this tournament, and Snoopy just ran him extremely effectively. Why do you think he's such a popular pick in the jungle?
Tak więc Snoopy zagrał Alistara w dżungli. Dlaczego Alistar jest tak popularnym wyborem?
I think that's mainly because he doesn't really require a lot of items. He's very effective without like anything. He just needs like boots and maybe gold per 10 item and he's set. He's also a really good oracle holder. He's a really good early ganker. He creates a lot of pressure on lanes early. And yeah, that's basically about it.
Tak więc Alistar nie wymaga wielu przedmiotów, jest dobry bez przedmiotów, bardzo dobrze przetrzymuje oracles i przy gankach jest również bardzo pożyteczny.
Now, what do you think is the biggest difference between the Korean teams you've faced and the European teams you're facing in this tournament so far?
Jaka jest różnica między zawodnikami koreańskimi, drużynami koreańskimi, a przeciwnikami właśnie na tym turnieju?
The Korean teams generally played a little bit more out of the line. Like the European teams play a bit more standard from what I can tell, and you'll see like more different or surprising things from Korean teams most of the time.
Tak więc Koreańczycy grają bardziej niestandardowo w League of Legends, Europejczycy grają raczej taki bardziej klasyczny styl.
Do you have anything to say to this fantastic crowd as well as your fans at home?
You're awesome, and keep making noise, and well, just have fun.
Thank you. So this was Yellow Pete from CLG.eu, and we're about to start the next match of Group B, which is going to be between a Polish team and a Russian team. Anybody, czy ktoś tutaj kibicuje Polakom? Well, lots of Polish fans here. Is there anyone at the audience that's not Polish? Hands up. Where are you from? Georgia. Welcome. Welcome to Poland.
Awesome.
Okay, so it will be my pleasure. Ребята, уважение, пожалуйста. It's going to be my